We've worked with JHM and Viking Construction on several projects. The first project was the Heights of Darien, and we kind of laugh a little bit about it now because they barely made Energy Star. We kind of had to pull them over the end zone there. They were LEED certified, which was great, but we didn't actually add Indoor airPLUS, which is a companion certification program. It's rolled out by the EPA, and so it goes along with Energy Star certification and then speaks to a lot of the indoor air quality things that Crosskey does a great job designing in. But we didn't add Indoor airPLUS labeling until we got to the next phase at Crosskey Crossing. And can you tell me a little bit about your role at Crosskey, what you do?
Thank you. I'm Laura Crosskey with Crosskey Architects, and we, as you said, do a lot of multifamily housing, new construction with JHM, some in Bridgeport and in Hartford, and myself am involved in a little bit of everything, learning the trade as well as doing a lot of marketing, BD, and such.
Excellent. So we are actually in the community space at Willow Creek. This community building will be for all of the phases. We're completed phase one.
Completed phase one, just finished the completion this summer, and phase two will be completed by the end of the summer into the fall.
Nice. And then there are two more phases planned. One of them is designed to passive house certification, which is great. We're excited about that. All of them will be Indoor airPLUS certified, which is fantastic. So I know Crescent Crossings, where we added the Indoor airPLUS label, is in radon zone 1, which means it's the highest risk for radon. And so radon mitigation measures are required by not only code, but also by Connecticut Housing and Finance Authority. However, now we're up in radon zone 3, so I was a little surprised to see that mitigation was in the plans.
Yes, as a requirement, it is usually to have a radon system, mitigation system set up, even if it's passive, even if they don't test positive. We still like to include it. It's a lot easier to add that system initially in new construction than it is to try and retrofit the system. And it will remain passive unless they test positive, in which case it can then be activated.
Right. Because the radon mitigation includes a layer where the gases can move through, which is usually crystone.
Yes.
And that's under the slab.
Underneath the slab, and then usually all the slabs caulked, and any penetration is caulked, and so the perforated under slab tube is then vented up through either through the roof or through the walls out to the exterior. And then we always design it next to an outlet so that fan and system can be activated if necessary at any time.
Yeah, that would be awful to have to do retroactively.
Right.
So that's why you designed it even into radon zone 3. It makes a lot of sense. So, like I said, these are affordable, and so CHAFA and some other code requirements are already met that are also Indoor airPLUS requirements, like have pest-proof screens on openings. What are some of the other ones that you guys design in that's just really good practice?
We usually like to stick with a hard surface flooring. We try to stay away from carpet. Usually that will just be in the bedroom. Using the low VOC paints and as many low VOC emitting products as we can. And the good thing is nowadays they're kind of everywhere. They're very easy and within reach for any project and any budget. So.
Right. Yeah, I remember when I first started working at Stephen Winter Associates, people were kind of squawking about just low VOC paint. They're like, oh, well, it's more expensive, it's this. Now I don't know that you can even go into, a big store and not get VOC.
Right.
You pretty much have no VOC paint. One of the other things that I think is a little bit of a challenge with multifamily construction, and before I get off that topic, the carpeting, Green Label Plus carpeting I had, that was also something that was hard to find back in the day, and now it's easy to find. I find that when I'm doing inspections, one of the things I see is that the ductwork isn't necessarily really protected from construction debris during all phases.
Yeah, so that's always a challenge, making sure that they're, once installed, that they're blocked off and protected so that as the rest of the construction happens, it's not collecting any construction dust in there, and then also making sure that we can get in there and have them all cleaned and filters replaced before tenants move in is really important. And sometimes it can be a challenge as you know, everybody's pushing to turn it over and get people in, and so
yeah,
it can be a challenge.
get everybody moved in quickly. And part of that is also occupant behavior and education. For instance, for indoor airPLUS and for a lot of the other programs and for chapel requirements, you have to have exhaust in the bathrooms and the kitchens. So the kitchens have to be direct exhausted. And then we also have something called whole house ventilation, which means that either the bath fan is running 24 hours a day or there's an energy recovery ventilator. What's the team doing to try to help educate either the project management team, the building managers, or the tenants?
Well, another feature also with the HVAC is having a pressurized system, so it can kind of keep all the, you know, somebody's cooking fish, for example, it will be contained in the unit and won't spread into, you know, the air of the rest of the building. So, and then I think JHM also does a no smoking policy too in their units. So that's another way to try and encourage people not to.
Right. And an educational component as well,
yes.
right? And so the compartmentalization that you're talking about is, and we have to look at the building as a whole, but then we have to look at every apartment as their own sort of entity as well, and making sure that, like you said, I'm not smelling the burnt grilled cheese like my neighbor kind of thing.
Exactly.
So I think that this is a great facility, and I'm really excited to see the next phases too.
Yeah, and you know, in the design of this also, it's very much a lot of green space, porches, so that encouraging residents to go outside, you know, the windows, feel, you know, experience a healthy living environment as well. That's always an intention that we try to incorporate into this.
Yeah, I noticed that down at Crosskey Crossings in Bridgeport, where all of the porches are facing inside and the parking is all to the outside, and it just feels so much like a community. It's really a great job, and I'm excited that Crosskey and JHM and Viking have embraced indoor airPLUS too, because it's kind of was that missing component. We were hitting all the energy stuff, materials and resources, water efficiency, but we weren't really taking credit for what they were doing as a really good job on the inside of every apartment. So.
Right, and we want, you know, the quality of living to be high so that residents are happy and healthy and ultimately stay longer.
Great, excellent. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.